Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. That's helpful. I think following that, I would have a number of questions to ask, but I think it's fair that I go straight to the PP and ask her to give a take of the situation. And perhaps I can come later and ask a few questions. Over to you, Public Protector.
Morning, Chairperson. Good morning to.
Just a pause, PP, and we seem to have a. Is it fine? They are showing us flowers and everything else. Okay. You can see. Okay. I need to see them. I don't want to see pictures. I need to be interacting with members here and members on the platform. So it's fine if they see me, but it's a two-way thing. Just quickly fix that and then go back to the PP. Yeah, they are beautiful portraits. I can go and check that somewhere, not here. Thank you very much. Are we back on?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry for that, Public Protector. Over to you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning to you and members of the committee, evidence leaders, and parliamentary staff, and members of the public. Chairperson, let me start by saying, indeed, after the discussion the last time, I wrote a letter to Public Protector South Africa to approach Sianego, or alternatively Chana attorneys, and I indicated that as the executive authority, I cannot deal with operational issues because I wanted them to assist me. Well, the Deputy Private Protector responded and said, well, even the legal services or CEO's letter that I should be proceeding with the attorneys. So I was waiting for them then to approach Sianego because they are the ones who are processing the payments. I don't do that. So until such time, then I discovered that Sianego wrote a letter to the committee and indicating his unavailability. So secondly, Chairperson, I never said I agreed to use state attorneys. That's totally wrong. What I said the last time was that the issue of funding, where you get the funding to pay the evidence leaders, which is, I take it because Parliament is bound by the Constitution and Section 217 of the Constitution. State attorney briefs the evidence leaders, and surely where the budget of Parliament is utilized for that, I was saying the very same kitty should be utilized for paying my legal services when you were still looking for money. So I didn't even know that the Solicitor General was approached, and I wouldn't have agreed to that because knowing the conflict of interest that state attorney cannot brief or act on behalf of Parliament and act on behalf of the Public Protector, and hence we have a panel of attorneys within the PPSA, knowing that we are audited by the Auditor General and we should be following or the compliance to Section 217. So currently, Chairperson, as I indicated, that indeed Sianego was my first option because of wanting to finalize the process, and they had knowledge about the matter. And then I gave the second option. And I'm still saying, Chairperson, I'm not involved on operational issues. And I indicated in my letter to you that for the Public Protector South Africa, the CEO, the accounting officer, is obligated to facilitate the process, as they've done with Sianeho, because they were asking for legal fees. Coincidentally, that's what the Solicitor General is saying, because understanding what the Constitution, Public Finance Management Act is saying, they should be that process of compliance. What are the legal fees? How to utilize them? Indeed, within the state attorney as well, they do have those requirements, how to charge, what the hours per rate or per page, and all those things. So that money should still, because it's state money, it's public protector's money, should be managed within the Public Protector South Africa. So I cannot be told by the Deputy Public Protector that there is 4 million, therefore you'll have see to finish whether you pay for your accommodation, traveling, and the protectors which you are using, and all those. Because at the end of the day, I am still the public protector, and unfortunately, I cannot. And even when I was still in the office, I didn't involve myself in the appointment of legal attorneys. Legal services used to do that under the guidance of the accounting officer. So I am here, Chairperson, and indeed I indicated that if Sianeho is not available, there is another attorney, because I wrote to the Deputy Public Protector, I requested the panel of attorneys so that I can check in the meantime which other attorney one can identify and utilize in the list. And that's what I did, Chairperson, after leaving here, calling the office, in fact, writing to the office, indicating that, informally engaging the legal team as well to check whether they are still willing to proceed, especially Advocate Mpofu, who's the lead counsel in the matter. And for now, though they have all other commitments and busy with other matters today, I think we know that they are in court. So they are available, Chairperson, as soon as we have an attorney who will then brief them. Unfortunately, this quagmire was brought to this committee by the letter of the Deputy Public Protector of the 1st of March. And we are here because of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Public Protector, for that explanation. Maybe just before I seek the following clarities, just to indicate that you remain under oath. I simply have seen. Can you hear me? Okay.
Verify. I was asking Teminkosi, why did you put me here? I should have been in the middle at least, so that I can hear you. I'm struggling to hear you.
Okay, I did hear you. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Thank you. No, thank you. I was just saying, Public Protector, that you just to confirm that you remain under oath before I seek the following clarities. I also want to indicate that, yes, I can confirm I've seen those letters you make a reference to, in which you state your standpoint and preferences in terms of attorneys. Mr. Sianeho has indicated that he's no longer involved in the matter because of professional reasons. He's put that in writing, and has also indicated that he's not at liberty to share those reasons because you have invoked a legal privilege and not provided a waiver in that regard. So my first clarity is, can you share with this committee those reasons that you are referred to by Mr. Sianeho apart from the funding issues, which have now led to a situation where Mr. Sianeko is no longer on brief. So that will be my first clarity, PP.
Oh, that's your first, so you'll ask another one.
Yes.
Chairperson, I think the letter to Sianeko, I was copied, and I think it's very clear here that Sianeko is saying that is very critical, that the letter of the 1st of March and the 29th of March, that's the first reason that as Sianeko, they are saying their mandate was terminated by public protector by that letter. So that's the first paragraph. It addresses that, because irrespective of what the Deputy Public Protector and legal services are saying, Sianeko was appointed by public protector. There's letters where the previous CEO appointed Sianeko, and through legal services and all the litigation up until they were the people who represented me here. And that was done because they had the knowledge of the matter, nothing more, nothing less. And that was done to save costs. Instead of getting other attorneys to deal specifically with this process, they knew where the matter started from the MP Mazone's complaint, the responses to the speaker and all those. So that's the first issue. So when the letter was written to them on the 1st of to me by the Deputy Public Protector, I had to share with my legal team. And then as well, the CEO wrote to Sianeko asking them to cost the remaining part. And Sianeko responded and said, we cannot, because evidence leaders and them are still going to discuss in the back room to identify the time frame, the schedule and everything. That's the first reason. Secondly, for professional reasons, they decided for themselves that is an added issue, but the main issue is that they've terminated the service. For professional reasons, Chairperson, there's a number of between attorney and client where we discussed issues and strategies on how matters should be dealt with the Sianeko team and them preparing me for this process, but not only for this process. Remember, they were my attorney for a number of other cases, so it's based on that. So there's nothing I could say on the professional reasons which they are having. And I've seen here that they are also busy with some hearing and some other matters. But I think at the core, at the center of this matter is that their mandate was terminated. And I think, Chairperson, you would see that from all my letters, wanting to make sure that this process is finalized expediently. I said Sianeko is still my first preference. And then they had other than commitments which they couldn't forgo. And for the whole month of April, they also had their own, charting their own work. So I wouldn't know, and I can't say what issue is the main issue from their side, but informally, that's what they said. They will proceed with other matters. And I think that's a right which is guaranteed between attorney and client to do that.
No, thank you for that, PP. I hear you on that. Quite clearly from where I'm sitting, let's, apart from the funding issues, let's just put funding issues aside. I'm interested in, and as I've asked the question, because they cite professional reasons. Let's leave the funding part, because that's what has held us back, and there's an intervention in relation to that. They are citing professional reasons for a brief that now it no longer exists, and I'm only asking that if you can share with the committee what those professional reasons are, because they get instructions from you, and they indicated that for legal privilege, and you have not provided the waiver in that regard. I'm interested what those professional reasons are. Funding issues aside, because there's a process to deal with that, including what the letter was indicating from Solicitor General. Just unless I've missed you when you explain what those professional reasons are, I would just want to help me repeat that.
Chairperson, I think the best way is for them to be here, for me to be here, and my legal team to be here. I don't know what are those professional reasons.
So you have no knowledge of professional reasons that you would have invoked in this matter, or that are now existing? Because they've done that in a written letter to us, that there are professional reasons that they are not citing. And I was asking you if you can share that, but your answer is you are not aware of
Not
existence of
necessarily
such professional reasons.
Not necessarily that I'm not aware of. The issue is there's client attorney privileges. So for them to say professional reasons, it might be that they've got a lot of other work they're doing, or it might be that because their services were terminated. And remember, Chairperson, these people, they were dealing with my matters at a very minimal negotiated rate, SCNF. So there's also that issue. Possibly professionally, they cannot sustain themselves by continuing to do my matter. So I think it's better to hear from them what are those, if they can disclose. So for me, I said I'm asserting my right to privilege between attorney and client, because there might possibly other things which I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, is that the mandate was terminated, they continued with their life, and that's all I can say.
So also, as far as you're concerned, there's no problem with the professional relationship between yourself and Sianejo as things stand?
I don't know of any challenges. So I would say, Chairperson, the best way to handle this is that we resolve the issue of legal representation. If they are no longer participating, let's proceed with other legal representation which I've opted for, so that we can finalize the matter.
Okay. Perhaps at this stage, members, before one goes to a ruling, if there are any other clarities or questions that members have based on what has been tabled, or Ms. Ibrahim, if you want to come in first, I will allow members if there's any question or clarities before we make a ruling. Ms. Ibrahim.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chair, I just wanted to place on record paragraph 7 of the letter from RMT attorneys dated the 5th of May. And this is, I see Chairperson put it up on the screen, where it says, given the fact that our client, and the client now being the public protector, is without any legal representation in the committee, and her eagerness to complete the process, but in a fair manner, she would have no objection to being represented by the state attorney, or for that matter, any other attorney, provided, of course, that this would be done in a manner which will be fully compliant with the binding order of the Constitutional Court. So, Chairperson, it was based on that paragraph that we then sought the assistance via the PPSA of the Solicitor General, because it has been our approach since the letter of the 1st of March, in fact, not even the letter of 31 March, to do whatever we can from the committee's point of view to assist the public protector. So that was the reason, PP, and perhaps we've misunderstood your attorneys, but it was based on that, that the ensuing correspondence was then sent to the CEO of the PPSA. Chairperson, if I can please ask for clarity for our own purposes, for when we decide after this meeting how we can further assist the PP, am I correct in understanding that the PP has no objection to us putting these questions to Mr. Sianejo? So in other words, you're willing to waive that right to legal privilege. And the reason I asked, Chair, is so that we can consider whether we should be writing to the PPSA to assist the PP in still retaining the services of Mr. Sianejo and pursuing that rather than jumping to the second possibility, which is to obtain the services of a new attorney, that might assist to take the process forward. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Over to you, PP. I hope you got that clarity seeking question.
As I said, Chairperson, that I am not waiving my right to privilege. That's between attorney and client. And I don't think it's proper even. I saw the response of Sianejo and they were reminding this committee about what were their responsibilities in this particular committee. So if there's a client and attorney privilege, then I don't think it's fair for you to ask that, Fatima, to me to waive. And secondly, I think what we can do is for Public Protector South Africa and yourselves to speedily appoint the next attorney, and then we can negotiate how quick we can resolve them assessing whatever they are expected to do, agreeing on how the rates and the time which is allocated and the work which is now remaining, so they can assess that. So I think that's what you can do for us or for me, so that we can proceed, because I would want to indeed proceed with the legal representation being present.
Okay, thank you, PP. I hope that's clear, Ms. Ibrahim.
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. So my understanding now is that we will not ask PPSA to pursue the avenue of using Sianejo Inc., and that it is the understanding that we now move to the possibility of new attorneys. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Honorable members, any clarities or questions?
Chair.
Honorable Mautwe.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning to the PP and the colleagues. Chair, I'm a bit lost because when we adjourned the last time, we agreed that the matter of the PP not having a legal rep will be resolved. By the time we resume, that matter would have been resolved. Now we're back here today. The agenda is very clear. It says the evidence by the PP. But we're still asking clarity on the issue that is still not resolved. The question that you just asked to PP, was it not practical for you to be asking like you've been doing? Clarity through letters and all that. Why must we all convene here to listen to you asking the PP simple questions that she could have asked via letters like you always do? Because the reality is that this agenda is misleading. We set aside time, Chairperson, to attend this meeting, to want to listen to the evidence by the PP. We've got other portfolio committee meetings. There's a parliament sitting right now, mini plenary sitting. We left all that to come here, only for you to ask the PP a simple question that you could have asked through a letter. This is pure abuse and waste of resources, honestly. Can the issue of the PP legal team be resolved? and us as the committee be called to come here and continue with this meeting. Not these things that you are doing. It's a complete waste of time. And the public is looking at us as if we're moomish, all of us. You now involve us in your moomish things. No, it's wrong, Chairperson, please. And you are asking the PP the things that you should have asked Yanejo. No, Chair, this is wrong. Please let the issue of the legal representative of the PP be finalized. Call us as a committee. We want to come and resume the work of the committee, not to be dealing with back office administration, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Zungula.
Thank you, Chair. Greetings to yourself, the members of the committee, the PP, the evidence leaders, support staff, everyone. Chair, I want to agree with my colleague. You'll recall that during the start of this inquiry, there were some teething problems that were identified, and it was suggested that there needs to be a back office to deal with such. Now, when the back office is dealing with such, it would save time from the committee in terms of meeting in this fashion to discuss things that should have been resolved in the back office. In the last meeting, and in fact, for the last few meetings, especially after the issue of the funding for the legal representation of the PP came about, it was stressed, Chairperson, that up until that process has been done and agreed to and everything has been sorted and the PP is here with her preferred legal representatives, we can proceed. You'll recall, Chairperson, that number one, the PP did not suspend herself. And there is a court ruling that states that the suspension of the PP by Mr. Ramaphosa was invalid and unlawful. Number three, Chairperson, that the Constitutional Court, in fact, even that suspension, it was clear that she must continue receiving the same type of benefits and rights she would ordinarily been receiving had she been not suspended, meaning the issue of legal representation has been, there was a commitment from the unlawful suspension. And also, in light of that, the Constitutional Court also said the process must include the legal presentation of the PP. At no stage the process must continue without legal representation. Now, we can't keep on going back and forth on the obvious. The obvious thing is that the committee must sit, the inquiry must proceed, having complied with that Constitutional Court order of ensuring that the PP does have the legal representatives. Now, I want Chairperson to put it to you that please convene the people that you need to convene in your back office at the times that are convenient for yourself. And then you can deal with these issues. But when you call a meeting where you are going to, the inquiry is going to proceed, like the agenda is saying that it is day of hearing the evidence of the PP, only bring us when that has been sorted and the evidence and the legal representatives of the PP are there. Because rightfully so, I want to agree a lot with my colleague here, is that there's plenaries that are sitting and some of us, in the are taking part in various debates which needs our thorough preparation. Therefore, we can't be called to a meeting to hear what is should have been discussed and agreed to in another forum. So I want to move, Chairperson, that this meeting clearly cannot proceed, number one, because still the legal representation of the PP is not here. So there's no way in which you can proceed having that not being agreed to and fixed, and it is now resolved. Number two, going forward, only bring us to a meeting when that has been sorted so that we don't have to do this back and forth, because we've been saying the same thing over and over again about what the court has said, what is fair, even in a hearing at a workplace. There's always legal representation. Whoever that is accused, whoever that is, his case is being dealt with, he's always afforded legal representation. But it can't be that Parliament, which is a lawmaking institution, is unable itself, when it is conducting such a hearing, to respect that fundamental right of ensuring that a person is represented by a legal representative of their choice. So, Chairperson, please call us when that has been sorted, then we can move on, Kakul. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Zongula. Honorable Malema.
No, Chair, I'm covered by the two previous speakers, morning colleagues. As you would know that we're busy with a lot of different type of things. And then to be convened like this, as if we are just people who have no responsibility except being on standby for this, it's a problem. We were told today that we're going to listen to public protector, and then the next thing we're here, we're listening to administrative issues, which shows that when we adjourn here, someone is not doing his or her job in the back office. She only speaks here because there are cameras and she wants to appear in cameras. But if you're a back office, you'll be someone who's camera shy, and then do all types of things, including asking people whether they waive their rights or not behind cameras. But because I like cameras, I don't do my work. I wait for the day when there are cameras, and then so that I can show my face and pretend to be doing some work. These questions that you're asking here could have been answered by Sianejo, and the public protector is being nice. Someone writes a letter, you ask another person, what did that person mean? You are very fortunate you are not asking me such a question, because I will not have answered such nonsense. I didn't write you a letter. Go to the author of the letter and get the answers. But because it's done for the show, you are asking a wrong person deliberately, because it's for the show. For you, it's for the show. But for her, you are humiliating her. You are continuing to violate her on things that could have been done behind closed doors. What is this professional thing? Because the intention is to embarrass her. But if you're a professional, you would have asked behind closed doors, so that by the time we come here, we deal with the nitty-gritties of what brings us together here. Not things that seeks to embarrass someone. Stop embarrassing a woman. Stop wearing a tie in the morning with an intention to embarrass a woman, an African woman for that matter. Be ashamed of yourself.
Thank you, Honorable Malema.